Stop.
Mr. Grace, just hold on, baby.
Sorry.
All right, we got it right. It switched over.
Right.
All right, we're going to start this over. We had a little hiccup to where I went to my Facebook page instead of the Taylor Hooton Facebook page. So we are now live. My name is Tavis Piattoly, sports dietitian with the Taylor Hooton Foundation, and this is my daughter, Grace Piattoly. Grace, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
Yep.
I am Grace Piattoly. I go to Chipmunks Middle School, and I'm going into 4th grade. I am 9 years old, and I'm so glad to be here.
You want to tell them a little about what you've been doing during the summer since
I've been doing some work, some math. I've been preparing for school. I've been to camps, sports complex. I went to
theater school.
Theater school.
Well, you went to a theater camp.
30 by 90, and then I went to math camp where my mom works.
Yeah. So Grace had a busy summer. She was in music and arts and drama. She's an actress, so she's probably going to steal the show today. A little about my background: I've been a sports dietitian for over 20 years. I've worked with the New Orleans Saints in the past, the Pelicans in the past, Tulane Athletics. Now I do a lot of education with the Taylor Hooton Foundation. We do a lot of education in high schools, especially educating young athletes about the dangers of appearance and performance-enhancing substances, dietary supplements, and sports nutrition. Now today's goal, we're going to do healthy meal prep. Kids are going to be going back to school, and in some cases, there are going to be kids home virtually. And then some cases, like my daughter, she is not now scheduled to go back to school until after Labor Day, which usually she starts the week. Usually she would be starting this Thursday, would be her first day of school. But they will be going back to school in person. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, so today I'm going to be preparing a breakfast smoothie and some butter and jelly.
And now, before she does that, the first thing we're going to talk about is really making breakfast. That's going to be an important thing. So we're going to really share with you really healthy ideas. Don't do it just yet. Just hold on one second. Before we get started on that, breakfast is a big trouble for a lot of high school individuals or even middle school. 40% of young kids don't eat breakfast, and this is a big problem. So a lot of the things we're going to share with you today are basically things that we make in our own house, and really using tools. We understand we have the same problems that everyone has: convenience, getting up, running late. There are days where I've had to just get her up and, hey, look, we're running late. You got to get moving. We got to make something fast. We don't have time. Now, I will give you, honestly, one Friday a week, or every Friday, we do what's called Chick-fil-A Friday. So that's a little different. That's the only fast food we do in the house once a week, but it's a nice little breakfast.
I love their sandwiches. I love them.
Now, why is breakfast so important? Give them a little example of how you feel. Do you feel better after you eat breakfast in the morning?
Well, I feel better when I'm full of everything.
So you have a little bit more energy? You feel more focused at school?
Gotcha.
Yeah, so breakfast is so important for young kids, mainly because if they wake up hungry and they go to school on an empty stomach, their brain lacks that fuel to pay attention, and just really focus. So we're going to start and really focus on some really quick, convenient options. We're going to make a breakfast smoothie. So, Grace, how do you make your breakfast smoothie?
So first we start with milk.
It's a little heavy now. Here.
Because I used some this morning for breakfast.
Now, you can use any type of milk. We're using a 2% regular milk. I'm a fan of I love Fairlife. I think that's one of my favorite brands.
And then we're going to use some corn whey protein.
So we're going to use some whey protein. And yes, I give my daughter a little whey protein. She does about 10 or 15 grams. So you can do about a half a scoop. That's plenty. That's good. And again, any type of milk is fine. So if you have a preference, it doesn't matter if it's almond. It doesn't matter if it's cashew milk.
Then we're going to do a frozen banana.
And a frozen banana because she loves a frozen banana.
And then some cocoa Hershey's powder.
So this is 100% cocoa powder, just to give it a little bit more of a chocolate taste. That's perfect. That's fine. We're going to make this kind of quickly. And then you want to get your sun butter.
Yes.
Now, explain to them why we use sun butter.
It's because I'm allergic to peanuts and peanut butter, so we use sun butter. And the thing about sun butter is they use sunflower seeds instead of peanuts.
Yeah, so this is made from sunflower seeds. There's no nuts. So if you have a child or you know kids, some schools have restrictions where you have to, like in her school where she was going before, it was a private school to where kids had to eat at a certain table if they had an allergy.
Yeah, so there was a table called Peanuts Only. It said no people who are allergic to peanuts, but I didn't go to that table because I could be by peanut butter. I just can't eat it.
Right.
Or like lick it.
Right. Okay. So we have, hold on, we have everything in here.
Yeah, and it looks gross until we found it.
And then she's going to go ahead and whip this up. All right. And again, this is just a really quick and convenient way to make breakfast.
I'm always so confused about this.
I know. Hold on.
Oh, I see it. I know. Wait, what? Okay. Right there, yeah.
All right, and you turn it from the other side.
So, smoothie?
Yes, you can hit hit high. So really quick. So if you're short on time, you know, when people say I don't have time for breakfast, I hear this a lot in apps. So when we're working with athletes specifically, one thing that's important is I hear from so many kids, especially those kids that are trying to gain weight.
Okay, so how we're gonna pour it is there's this little piece. We just got this blender, and it's easy. So there's this little piece where we hook it open and then we just pour it in. And there's a lot of it actually. Our other blender, their cord broke, so we had to get a new one.
All right, so when it comes to breakfast for especially young athletes, it's so important to get enough calories. And you're gonna make great.
Here's the smoothie that we just made. I'm gonna taste test it.
Yummy! So when it comes to athletes, a lot of people are complaining, or they really make the excuse they don't have time for breakfast. And we just kind of showed you this really takes about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. If someone says they don't have time for breakfast, they usually just don't want to eat. Now, in some cases, where an athlete or an individual, doesn't have to be an athlete, if they're just not hungry, then we want to really get them in the habit of eating. It doesn't have to be a lot. That's just one example of a convenient breakfast. It could be a piece of toast with some butter and jelly. It could be a peanut butter. If you have no allergies, peanut butter is just fine. And there's a few things on this table that we'll go through when we get the snacks that can also be used for breakfast. It could be a protein bar with some fruit. So it's all things that can be grab and go. It doesn't have to be anything that requires a lot of time. All right, so that's just one option. We're going to move now to really talking about convenient options when it comes to or making a healthy breakfast.
Yeah, so the next thing,
a healthy lunch.
Next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a sun butter and jelly sandwich, or honey or some butter.
Whatever you choose. So
let's do honey.
Okay, so Grace is going to make a sun butter and honey.
We're going to use
100% whole wheat bread.
Okay, so we got two pieces here. Okay, I'm going to take
Okay. Oh. This is going to be her lunch today too. So she's like, I'm
so
starving.
We're going to take the no sugar added sunflower butter. So it's this.
It's gonna make it. So what I like about this is it's pretty balanced. When it comes to lunch, we know there's a lot of struggles in trying to make things quick, and kids are eating school lunch. In some cases, kids have to eat the school lunch, but in many cases, we can make lunch really well balanced when it comes to good nutrition. This is just a staple. I mean, who doesn't love peanut butter and jelly? In Grace's case, it's sun butter and jelly.
Next, we're going to use some Bernard's Pure Natural Honey.
She's not getting paid by Bernard's either. She's just doing that because it's on the cover. So she loves sun butter and honey, something I made for her before. You can actually throw a fresh banana on here, and it also makes a really, really good sandwich.
Oh, yeah, sun butter and bananas are so good.
If I let her go, she's going to use the whole tub of honey and the whole tub of sun butter.
True.
All right, so we're not going to eat this just yet, but if you want to take a bite, that's completely fine.
Taste.
I know you're hungry. She was saying earlier that all this food out's making me hungry. When can I eat lunch?
I was eating that.
Okay.
Okay, so I finished the thing.
All right. What do you think? Was good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, that doesn't take a lot of time to make. But one of the struggles that we have when it comes to lunch is people say, I don't have time to make lunch. It takes too long. If you are someone, let's say an athlete trying to gain weight, this is a big thing where bringing food to school is extremely important. So you might have to make 2 sandwiches. But what can you combine with, let's say, a sun butter and honey? That would make this pretty well balanced. That's not going to be enough for most middle and high school students. So You can do fresh fruit. You can use some skinny pop. You can even throw some string cheese. You can throw a protein bar. We have some Kind bars. I like this yogurt. So this is called Oikos yogurt. I like it because it's 15 grams of protein. It's also low in sugar.
And I
so
like
this is a
these
good option.
rice. I like these rice crisps, and I love pork rinds and the Fairlife.
So
I love the Fairlife.
yes, and what I like about the pork rinds, you can mix this. So if you're trying to avoid processed chips, now this only has 6 ingredients. It's 30 grams of protein. And you might think pork rinds. You want to come back here because you're going to make something else. You might think pork rinds. You think, oh, this is awful. It's pork. It's bad for you. But this only has 2 grams of fat. It's got 35 grams of protein. Not yet. No, you're not doing this. And it is a little salty, but at the same time, if we're looking for a lower carb option, a low carb snack, something that's low in sugar, and again, it's got pork rinds, maltodextrin, salt, some natural flavorings, and a little bit of MSG. I know people kind of get a little scary with MSG, but again, in moderate amounts, this would be a great alternative to potato chips if you like crunchy and salty options. Okay, so the last thing we're going to make for lunch is going to be a ham and cheese wrap. Now, what I like about the wraps is they're very versatile. I make Grace a sun butter and honey wrap. I make her a sun butter and jelly wrap. And a lot of times she wants a ham and cheese wrap. Tonight's Taco Tuesday, so she is going to be actually making some lean tacos. And we're going to put a bunch of stuff in that for dinner.
We're going to show them that?
We're not. We're not going to be actually cooking today. We're just going to be doing some easy, quick prep. So really, this is quick and easy. I like an all-natural ham. Actually, Sam's has a really great pound and a half of ham at a great price.
I'm gonna be on Instagram doing my taco stuff.
Oh yeah,
so I can show everybody.
So Grace will be on Instagram on her Instagram page. I have no idea what it is. I usually don't like her on social media
because he just doesn't like people looking at me.
That's right.
Stuff like
when you have a 9-year-old daughter, you don't want to.
So he's following me.
So this is an avocado oil wrap. I also prefer. I like an olive oil mayo.
Yeah, I love this one.
So this is an avocado mayo.
Can
this is
real mayo?
Yeah, real, because you can have this for lunch.
I'm gonna be making it.
Okay. So real quick, it's not going to be the most attractive looking wrap. That's Quinn.
Yeah.
How much ham and cheese do you want with your mayo sandwich? So this is pretty plain. Ham and cheese and a little mayo. It doesn't have a lot of room now. I like the Mission brand. There's a lot of good brands out there. Yeah, go ahead. You can take a bite. You can try everything. This is what's called the plant protein base. It's high in protein. It's pea protein. Again, decent low carb if you need that. If you're not, just use a regular rice flour. You can use corn. You can use whole grain flour. That's completely fine. What I like about these combinations, they have protein and fiber. That is really the key to keep you full and more sustained. That's one of the struggles I've seen with a lot of people today, young individuals, high school students, athletes, adults. When we're consuming foods, we don't have the right combination to keep us full longer. And that's where things like protein, fat, and carbohydrate, especially fiber. Protein and fiber is critical. Your blood sugar will stay stable much longer when you have those in combination. So ham and cheese have protein and fat. The wrap has fiber. We can combine it with fruit. We can combine it with things like walnuts, which have fat and protein, maybe a little skinny pop, which has a little fiber, some wheat things. So there's a lot of options and combinations we can create for you. Now, before we move into snacks, you'd like to say something?
Yes. What I don't like about the sandwiches in the wrap is when you take your first bite, you never bite into the stuff that you make with.
Yeah, the mayo.
You have to bite into the bread, only the bread, or only the wrap part.
Now, with this, you can add vegetables. That's one thing we always say is, look, add tomatoes, add whatever. If you want onions, if you want lettuce, make this a veggie option to where you get a couple of servings of vegetables with your meal. It's really easy to do based on your preferences.
Oh, this food, I love it.
Now, before we go into really the final thing we're going to kind of show you is, I'm going to show you a few things on healthy snacking. Snacking is so important for young individuals, especially in the school setting, because it will prolong hunger. Now, if I was in a classroom presenting to student athletes or students and parents, the first question I usually ask them is, how hungry? Raise your hand if you're starving when you get home from school. And most kids are starving. I mean, especially if athletes coming home after practice, they're going to be ravenous when they get home after because they haven't eaten enough throughout the day, or they're relying on the vending machine, or they're bringing snacks that don't have a lot of substance, no protein, no fiber. So this is really easy to do. And that, like I said before, protein, fiber, and a little fat are really essential. So let's look at a few combinations that are pretty easy. Some of these have to be refrigerated. You can make your own healthy Lunchables. Instead of buying Lunchables, you can get lean ham, you can get a few slices of cheese, some wheat thins or Triscuits, and you can make Lunchables as a snack or even use it as a lunch.
Like in my camps, when it was snack time, all they had was sugar
Right.
and
So
candy.
can you give them some examples of like what kind of snacks they would provide?
They would have Skittles, M&Ms, like Crunch. Thank you.
All right. Just want to get that up there. What else?
They would also have like
Airheads. Yeah.
They would have those Laffy Taffy.
And look, as a dietitian, I don't restrict anything. The one thing she says is what? Daddy, I hate your job, because there's a lot of times where I'm like, no, we can't.
Oh my God, yes. Like whenever I want like more than one of these squares, he always says, that's not good, only one. Like, Daddy, can I get some Skittles? He's like, that's not good for you. No fast food.
Well, no, I don't say it's not good. I say we got to control that and make sure it's
good for me, but
so I prefer to have some dark chocolate. She loves dark chocolate. Now,
I love the sea salt and the milk chocolate caramel.
Yeah, so
Square.
we'll talk. You want to go ahead and show that to him? So we're big fans of chocolate in this house. Don't get too close. Get back. You gotta get back a little bit because
They might not see them.
There's 2 feeds. Come
Is
here.
that one?
Grace, back up. Right here. Gotta get in the middle. Show. Yeah, there you go.
Right here.
Put it lower. There you go.
This is the sea salt caramel, dark chocolate sea salt caramel, and this is the milk caramel.
So she makes a great point. You know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, that's bad for you." I don't like to use the word bad for you or good for you, because what does that mean? Eating anything in moderation can be completely fine. There's no one food that causes weight gain. There's no one food that causes weight loss. So it's all about really balance when it comes to that. And we have to enjoy ourselves. We do ice cream once a week. We'll have some chocolate, a little piece of chocolate, every night.
This is the stuff that we have.
But as we talked about, go ahead.
My favorite one is the white chocolate caramel. It's really good.
All right. So let's talk about how can you use chocolate. So since we're talking about chocolate, what I like to mix with that is maybe some almonds, or cashews, or walnuts. A small handful of nuts with some sort of chocolate really kind of goes well together. Or we can make like a high protein pudding. You can make, one thing I love is I'll take some peanut butter, I'll take a little bit of yogurt, and I'll take a scoop of whey protein, and you can mix that vanilla yogurt, like the Oikos, high protein, and make a high protein, low carb dessert. All right, let's talk about some snacks. Again, the combination of snacks are critical when we're trying to take things to food, take options to school, and that's where protein comes in. So you can do string cheese with popcorn. You can do string cheese with wheat thins and some ham, and you can make healthy Lunchables. You can do some sort of nutrition bar, which usually has kind of a gamut of all protein, fat, and carbohydrate, as well as you can use a half a sandwich, or if you want to have a peanut butter and jelly or some butter and jelly. There are a lot of, and let's kind of shift to athletes. Athletes struggle getting enough calories throughout the day. So if they're skipping breakfast and all they eat is lunch before they get to practice, they're missing out on a lot of calories. One of my favorites for my weight gain athletes are ready to drink. So this is an Ensure Plus. I don't drink this. My fiance loves this stuff. She has this. But the small Ensure Plus, especially for athletes trying to gain weight, this is just the regular Ensure High Protein. But the Ensure Plus in 8 ounces is 350 calories. And then you mix that with, let's say, a half a sandwich. Then you have 500-600 calories. Some of these athletes need 5,000-6,000 calories, 4,000 calories a day. They're not going to get that on Skittles. They're not going to get that enough calories on candy bars and chips. They need quality nutrition to fuel performance. One of my favorites. Grace, is something you want to talk about?
Mm-hmm. I'm eating this. The sea salt, and it's really good. This is my dad's favorite.
All right. So last thing we want to kind of talk about is preparation. This is really the key with a lot of this stuff, because you got to prepare this stuff, but really it can be really easy to do if you take just a short period of time. So for example, trail mix, a very, really well-balanced snack. But what I try to advise individuals, especially let's say someone who's trying to struggle, I need to prep my snacks for the week. What can I do? Take 10 minutes on Sunday and take your favorite ingredients that you would put in a trail mix. And what is that? Let's say it's cashews, raisins, and granola.
honey toasted original oat cereal.
Okay, so it's funny Grace says that because in this bowl right here, I have walnuts, I have craisins, and I have Cheerios. You can mix whatever you want, but for the individual, you can take a small measuring cup. This is a cup. I'm just using it as an example. And you can put it in a Ziploc bag, and that could be one option. And you can zip that up.
Yeah.
Now don't eat that because it's got walnuts.
I know, walnuts and craisins.
Right. So, and let's say you fill this bowl and you make 7 or 8 of these. There's one snack that you can have. You can take bowls of fruit and put it in a Ziploc bag or a container. Popcorn. You can take whatever nutrition bars. That way, you can make 10 peanut butter or 10 sun butter and honey sandwiches. So it's all about preparation. Take 15, 20 minutes. If you are an athlete, I recommend you do that. Don't make mom and dad or ask mom and dad do that. And mom and dad, if you're watching, don't do that for your son or daughter. That's where they need to get more involved in this process and preparing these foods on their own and take a little ownership.
So what we do every night is he gives me fish oil.
Hold on, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. You're getting ahead of the game. But the folks, Miss Carrie will love that you're already talking about.
I don't know what to start about.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But when it comes to snacking, it's all about preparation in advance. The reason why most kids don't eat at school is because they don't bring anything. They don't prepare. They don't think in advance. And when you're eating, I tell, like, for example, when kids are getting out of school, they should be eating at least 3 to 4 times before they get home. Breakfast, snack, lunch. If they're going to after-school activities like practice, a light snack before. And again, that could be a banana with some butter or peanut butter on it real quick. It could be a half a sandwich just to get some fuel so they're not starving and ravenous when they get home. They're going to want to eat, but it's about making sure they're fueled for practice or whatever they're doing. She's going to be going to theater after school. So we want to make sure she's also well-fueled and not starving by dinner.
There's theater at my school. There's talented theater and talented music and a choir. So that's what I'm going to be trying out. Oh, can I tell them about my audition?
You can. Yeah, she wants to. So Grace has a big audition this weekend. She's auditioning for the lead role of Annie in the Annie play. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So somebody said for Miss Bridget to be Mrs. Annie again. I'm like, she can't do that because she doesn't like, her personality is not like her.
Right.
Her personality is the big opposite. So I'm auditioning for Annie. If I don't get it, then they might give me like another orphan, like Judy.
Yeah. If we had time, I guess we'd let her sing a little bit, but I don't know if that's really what we want to do just yet. She's got a great voice, but we got to make sure she's well fueled in order to perform.
I'm gonna have a big lunch today.
Yeah, we're already eating some of the lunch anyway. Yeah. So as we talked about, it's all about preparation. We have a lot of options. Mom, dad, if you're listening and watching this live feed right now, it's all about getting your son or daughter, whether they're in sports, after school activities, whatever that is, and really getting them involved in the kitchen. She loves to cook. Don't choke. You eat too fast.
No, I just put too much mayo.
All right. She loves to prep food. She's cooked eggs. She made her own breakfast this morning, which was just cereal. But get your kids in the kitchen early. Get them to help. Get them involved because it really makes a big difference in getting them to enjoy. If it's, I've known a lot of kids that are so picky. I'm very fortunate that she's not very picky at all. She eats just about everything except for mushrooms, like me. We're not big fans of mushrooms, but we like.
How come my mom is? Like, right. She loves them.
Yeah, and everybody has different preferences. Don't look at food as good or bad. Look at it as how does it fuel your body? And that's the important thing with this is, look, somebody might look at this and go, oh my gosh, you give your child chocolate? Oh yeah, I give my child everything.
Only 2 squares one day. Like 1 square for lunch for dessert and 1 square for dinner.
Right. Or you give her protein powder, that's bad for your kidneys, and that's false. So there's just a lot of misinformation. Yes. Also snacks. One thing I forgot to mention. We're creating a snack handout. So if you want to email me, my email address is Tavis, that's Tavis .Piattoly, Piattoly, @taylorhooton.org. And Hooton is Hooton. Email me. We'll get you our snack handout. Just really some healthy, balanced snacks that you guys can look at and prepare. What's that?
Can I tell them that?
About what? Oh, you want to tell them about your chef outfit?
Okay. So if you didn't notice, my dad put this on me. It's a Saints chef thing. Mr.
Brian's gonna love this.
Ah!
Okay. So hopefully we'll have a season. Who dat?
Go Saints!
Before we end today, before we kind of close out, people ask a lot of times, well, do you give your daughter supplements? Not necessarily. I do give her a multivitamin, but the one thing she's been taking since she was 3 months old is fish oil, liquid fish oil. Now,
It really helps me.
So
every night.
Well, yeah, it's just about before bed. It's a teaspoon, probably a half a teaspoon, about a gram and a half. Great for brain health, great for development, great for inflammation. So one thing we've been a big fan of.
Take
That's okay. So Nordic Natural is a great brand of fish oil. What we want to do now is take any questions if anybody may have any questions. So I do have a question here: is what if you can't bring extra food to school? And that's a great question. Great.
No, can you just
No, we'll get that yet. Hold on 1 second. What if you can't bring food? Yeah, and that's going to be tough. The key is going to be eating as close as possible before you leave home. So make sure you get a good balanced breakfast, get a good lunch, and that can be sustainable. So if let's say breakfast is at 6:45, 7 o'clock, lunch is at 11, that's a good gap. 4 hours is fine. But if you're eating breakfast at 6 and lunch is at 12, we got to figure out a way to make sure we get some calories in between. If not, we got to get a good balanced breakfast because we don't want donuts. Not saying you can't eat donuts, but you want to limit that stuff.
Yeah, you can only eat it like a few.
Yeah, and you want to limit things like Pop-Tarts because all that sugar is going to spike and crash and make them even hungrier by the time they get home. So that is
the best limit of donuts for you is like 2.
Right.
1 to 2.
1 or 2 donuts. Okay.
Yes.
We're not going to talk that yet, but we're going to give you that opportunity. Another question that came in is for an active kid: is there a certain number of calories they should have each day? That's going to vary based on so much. There's really no way to give you that number because it's based on size. It's based on how much activity. Athletes someday may need, depending on the size of the individual, they may need 3,000, 4,000. On the days they don't train and take off, they might need 2,000. So I don't like to give out numbers, and I don't recommend tracking your calories, especially for young individuals, because there's a lot of research, especially in males and females, that shows if we track and we get too obsessed with that, it can create disordered eating behavior. So we don't want to do that at all. That's a great question. My kid isn't big on eating vegetables. Any tricks to hide them along the way? Great question.
I love broccoli.
So
I love broccoli.
But the question is,
and apples.
But listen to this question. How would you? I want to ask this question for you because I'm going to give you a little quiz. So the question is, their child is not big on eating vegetables. How can I hide them? What can we do to hide vegetables? What have I done before to where you're like, you'll eat spinach, but where did I put spinach one day that you're like, I think there's something different in here.
Brussels sprouts.
No, spinach. What did I put it in? You just made it a little while ago for breakfast. What did we just make? So
it tastes so different.
Well, not necessarily, because
I can taste it. Like
if you
when I started having spinach, like it made my eyes go wild.
So spinach has a lot of vitamin A and vitamin K, but it's great to put in the smoothie, especially if it has peanut butter or some butter and banana, because those flavors are so strong they overpower the spinach. And spinach is bland, so you're not going to taste that. Another thing is to cut up things like onions and peppers and put them in a spaghetti sauce, mushrooms. You can grind that stuff in a blender or in a food processor, and they will never know that stuff is in there. So that's one way to get those tastes started at a really young age. And then eventually, it's things like putting cheese and butter, making it a little flavorful, but just because they don't eat it once doesn't mean they're not going to like it. It takes about 10 times. So introduce it, keep expanding it, keep trying it. Just don't put balloons in the food because she's been trying to play with balloons all week. So that's a great question. So those are things that can work. What's that? Not yet. Hold on. I'm going to come to you in just a second. Those are things that can work, but it's just trying to try a variety. If they don't like vegetables after a while, focus on more fruit. Obviously, we know fruit's a lot sweeter.
I just ate an apple.
And she's eating everything. She ate the wrap. She drank the smoothie. She's on a muscle building plan today. All right. Any more questions? If you guys have questions, just put them in the live feed. I have my computer here. Those questions are coming to me so I can get a chance to see them and be sure that I'm happy to stay here as long as needed and answer questions. Grace wanted to talk to you guys about, she also takes a probiotic. Not that one. I'm going to show that one. Yeah. So,
you haven't shown me that one yet.
Yeah, that's the one you take the pixies.
For these pixies, you just put them on your tongue. You rip this part here.
Yeah, not too close.
Okay, so
Right
I'll
there.
just put my
They
apple
can
in.
see you just fine right there.
So this is a pixie, and how you open it.
Let me see. Uh-oh.
So you might need to use scissors. So.
We don't want to close up by you cutting your finger off. Going off. Okay, come on.
Okay, so you open it and then you just pour it on your tongue.
Yeah, and there's so much research right now with the gut microbiome and probiotics. There's still a lot more we need to learn. But Nordic Naturals for Kids makes a great Pixies probiotic where, as you can see, you just peel it off and take it, All right, come back over here.
Yeah, so it just like fills in your mouth and then you go down and then it goes down and then it's like it has vitamin D in it.
So yeah, it's good for gut health. Still, again, a lot more research that we need to figure out, but at least it's a good start to get kids gut health. All right. Any more questions? Anybody else want to ask any questions? Again, email me, tavis.piattoly@taylorhooton.org.
Nope, no questions.
I will help you in regards to sending you guys a snack handout to help your son or daughter, whether they're an athlete or not, and help them when it comes to good nutrition.
Thank you. Wait. Where did I go?
Hold on, I think there might be another question coming in.
I'm gonna be.
No, don't do that. Don't. Yeah, I see somebody typing a question, so hold on, let's see. All right, so no other questions. We can go ahead and we're going to close out today. We want to thank you guys so much for spending the day with us. I appreciate it. Grace, anything else you want to close with?
Tacos?
Tonight's Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
So we won't be live.
I'm going to be making tacos tonight on Instagram.
Good.
So, y'all see me.
And if y'all have any questions for me just regarding nutrition, use that email, tavis.piattoly@taylorhooton.org. Thank y'all so much. Really, it was fun. This was the first time we've done this. We didn't rehearse this. We had no idea how it was going to be. So hopefully it was educational. Thank you so much.
Bye. How do we turn?